Hello, everyone. I'm Pragatisureka here with my next episode of 15 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing. Today, I welcome Alpi Mantry, who is the Chief Human, aka the CEO and co-founder of a startup called Translate by Humans. She's based in London as well as in Ahmedabad, India. So she has a wide experience in consultancy with various IT consultancy firms. So Alpi, it's just simply great to have you here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here.
You're most welcome, Pragati. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
So tell me something, Alpi. How is it that you are the woman today? The young Alpi who's metamorphosized into this vibrant young lady. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, of course, I had not a very affluent childhood. My family was quite middle class, and my dad was in a government job. So I've got a younger brother, and we grew up in different cities. So he had lots of transfers. We would stay in one particular city, not more than a couple of years. We would make little friends. We will get to know the city a little bit, and then we would have to just change and go to another city. So as a child, I have faced lots of changes in life, and that has taught me a lot of things as I have grown up, whether it's about making friends or getting used to new environments, taking up challenges in life, and things like that. And I lost my mother quite early, when I was just 15 years old. And that was a major incident in my life where, I was left alone, and life just came to me where I was not able to handle it myself. So that was a very difficult time in my life. And then slowly, I picked myself up, went to do my studies, my graduation. Then, I got into a very good job with Oracle, and then moved on to UK for about 12 years, permanently. Did a lot of experience with consulting and IT and stuff like that. And then finally, when I realized that language is a very, very important barrier, which does not let people connect to each other. That's when me and my husband founded this company, which is called Translate by Humans. And now, we have got lots of clients across the globe who we help for translating their content. We provide interpretation in different languages. We do subtitling of different contents across media platforms. And we work with, more than 360 languages now. So that's where I am.
I think that's just so amazing. Languages have always fascinated me. And Noam Chomsky, he talks about it, the language acquisition device that we have. And the beauty of language is every child picks up language, and even the ones with difficulties and all that. So I totally agree. I'm somebody who feels that, languages are like strings which are strung together, and they help us connect to each other. And translation is one way. Like, I personally am a very big fan of Russian authors. I remember as a young child, when in Calcutta, the book fair would be there, I would love to pick up these books. And thanks to translation that, I could read Russian authors. Since I don't know Russian, there's no way I would have really known about these little nuggets that are there. So tell me one personal story of emotional well-being, or somewhere where you've really managed your mental health and taken care of yourself. I think all our viewers would love to hear that.
Sure. So there would be, two very close to heart instances that I would like to talk about. One of them, as I discussed before, is that I lost my mother quite early, when I was just 15 years old. And as a child, I never understood that what it is to lose a parent that point in time. But then the struggles were real. The life was something that I had to face. And that was a time, when there were issues with my mental health. I used to, not eat properly, or sometimes eat a lot. I had become, a very introvert person. It was difficult for me to communicate to people, to discuss, or to talk to my dad about it. He even got remarried at that stage. So that was another difficult phase. But somehow I think, life helped me with few of my friends where I could speak to them, a few of my teachers. and it was, slowly and steadily when I realized that, I could not have died with my mother. I mean, it sounds very, very, unemotional, but I think I had to pick myself up and go on with life. And then, I got into my graduation. I moved out of my home, and that was another thing because, when I moved out of my home, I realized how to manage myself on my own. And that was a journey which really shaped me into a very independent lady that I am today. So that was one instance. It was very personal, and it was, I think, gradual and small lessons in life that helped me come up to speed with life. Another thing is that I lost my first child. So I was pregnant after 5 years of my marriage, and that's usually you take these days time that we will have a child when you're ready for it. So we had a child at after 5 years, and I had to deliver my little boy at 24 weeks. And that is a stage, when you're not very sure that the child is going to survive or not. But I had a full-blown normal delivery. I could hold him in my hands, but he was not there with me for more than 40 hours. So that really took away a major part of me. And that was a space in life where, I was really, really stuck. I was stuck to a stage where I stopped receiving my phone calls. I did not call anybody, did not speak to my parents. I did not speak to my husband who was living with me, for almost 4 to 5 months. And I just had shut down because I had lost a part of me. And I mean, all that I could think of was that, it was my incapability that I could not carry my child through the tenure of 9 months. And, that somewhere that got into me thinking that I used to think that, I've not been capable enough. I was not good enough. I could not have been a good mother, and all those things, all negative thoughts. And that's when I started putting on weight. And, as I said, my conversations were zero. Then one of my friend's husband reached out to me, and for whatever reason, I was in conversation with him. And one important thing that he told me was that, Alpi, life is like a car. If you're on a journey, you have to look in the front. You cannot drive a car by looking in your rear view mirror. And that, for some reason, just stuck me somewhere. And I was like, correct, I have got relations in life. I've got my husband, and I have to move on. I cannot be like this. However, I was not mentally ready at all. And that's when I did reach out to a therapist. I actually did. And so this lady was, basically a therapist in my school when I had studied in one of the convent schools that I studied in. And I reached out to her and I told her, look, I really want to speak to you. And there is a grudge in my heart. And then it's just not letting me, get over it, that I was not capable enough. So I came to India especially for those sessions. I sat with that lady, with my therapist for, for I think 12 continuous days. We spent, so we would have defined sessions where a couple of hours we would talk, then we'd just go around, do our dinner, lunch, and all of those things. But, she used to be constantly with me. And there was something about those conversations that got me to speak to her. And we could connect that, because I lost my mother at an early age, that was one of the void in my life. And then, losing a child. And she somehow, said that psychologically, that's why you're not able to pick up, thinking that, you lost a mother when you were a child, and then you lost a child when you wanted to be a mother. So those conversations really helped me. And then, slowly and steadily, I got to realize that, life has still not stopped for me. So I can still pick up. The most important thing that she made me realize is that, what I have lost is lost. There is a new me. And if I don't accept that new me, people will never accept me. So those conversations were really helpful. Then she also took me around to some very beautiful places. We traveled to Shimla. We went to, very, very natural places. And that's when, I realized that there is still beauty around me. There can still be conversations. I can still talk to people, because some point I was almost like, I can't have any conversations with anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. But that journey, those sessions really helped me come out. And finally, I came over it. Then after a couple of years, I was ready for another child, and I have got a wonderful young 5-year-old now. So
Thank you, Alpi. That was really heart-wrenching, and kudos to you. I mean, I think my respect for you goes up. And also, it takes a lot of courage to share such personal stories. But I'm so happy that you are sharing them, because I know there are a lot of people who don't talk about their grief. And loss is something that we need to process it. And sometimes we need help to get out of that hole that we take ourselves into, where our loved ones want to be there for us, but we are unable to reach out to them. So
right.
I'm so glad that you've so beautifully worked on yourself, and now you are the woman you are today, and life feels beautiful again. So what emotional ability resources did you use that made you much stronger, and what are the ones that you use currently?
So I think, Pragati, the most important one that I could use was, reaching out to my therapist, okay, and having conversations. That was one thing that, because, I think in the Western world, we are still okay. But in India, when you talk about mental health, it's not looked at it with that, importance. People, really feel that that's not something. Why do you want to talk about it? Just get over it and go on. So that's the mental social thing that I had to break. So that's one thing that I reached out to the therapist, and it was really worth it. The another thing that I did was I started writing diaries, just to let out that, how sad I am today, or, what is it that brings a tear to my eyes? And is there anything that I can do about it? Or is there somebody else who can help me with that? So slowly, I also realized that, my husband, because when I had lost my child, I just thought about myself. I always thought, it's my loss. But slowly, with the diaries that I wrote and the conversations that I had with my therapist, I realized that, my husband has also lost. He was also going to be a dad. And that's when, I opened up for conversations with him. So all this while he was just next to me, I could not talk to him. But with these kind of tools, these kind of, writing diaries, standing in the mirror and having a conversation with myself, really helped me realize that, I should have a conversation with him as well. And that's how slowly and steadily, even because, even our relationship got impacted because of that. And with the conversations we opened up to each other, he also cried his heart out, because until then he had not cried. All that he was doing was trying to look after me. And so it improved our relationship down the line. And that diary I still hold with me. And sometimes, I've made pointers where, I still go back and look at it thinking, okay, this is where, I need to pick myself up, or this is what I need to learn. This is what I had told my future self then, that, Alpi, this is what you need to learn about and pick yourself up.
That's so wonderful, because how journaling can really help us. We talk about it. Therapists after therapists recommend it. A lot of people in the helping professional. But to really help from someone, and to really hear from someone who has seen the benefits of journaling and how that helped you cement your relationship is just so beautiful. And thank you very much for sharing that. And
Most
who has
welcome.
been your role model, Alpi?
So, so if you ask me, personally, I really, was very close to my mother. But as I said, since she left me quite early in time, I had a principal who, who was with me in a convent school. She is a role model that I, look up to, even talk to her today, because she's very grounded and she really gives me good advice in the sense that she just does not judge me. And then if you ask me professionally, Pragati, I think, I really take immense inspiration from people like Jacinda Ardern. I really like that lady, the way she carries herself, the way she, progresses such difficult decisions and really holds up, even though she's a mother and, she also has a family, but the way she runs the country is amazing. So I really like her.
And what are some of the tips that you want to leave our viewers with? Something that you want to share with them?
Pragati, I would really want to say that, life is beautiful. Okay, we all come through lots of dark patches, but then what we need to do is, maybe look at the brighter side. And there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So don't lose hope, don't lose your heart. If God has given us life, there will be, means to carry it forward. So let's just keep at it, because the sun follows the darkness. So that's my 2 penny.
I think that is so beautiful, that yes, they do say there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you so much, Alpi, for sharing your thoughts with us. It has been wonderful having you here with me today.
You're most welcome, Pragati. It was, as I said, a pleasure talking to you again.